I'm Yui Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating sociologists.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to the Dateable podcast. Dateable friends, welcome to Brunch Talk, where we will dissect all of your dating questions to the point where you cannot dissect it anymore. That's how far we go. That's how detailed we get with all your burning dating questions.
Love dissecting. So much fun. It's my hobby.
Just call us dating surgeons. We operate on your questions.
That should be our new thing. Get rid of sociologists. We're dating surgeons.
Just call us doctors.
We did not go to med school. It's okay.
Oh, you're a doctor? What's your field? Dating.
Doctor of love.
Yes, doctor. We have a PhD in love, okay? An MD and a PhD, and a DDS and a DO and an MS. All of it.
This is a little off topic, but back in the day, Yue and I did an epic video shoot called The Decorator.
Mm-hmm.
So go see that. But we had a great improv scene by a former guest and Yue's friend, that he was the expert and he had his DDS as well as many other credentials.
DO and PhD, MS, all of it, CPA. It's pretty great. But back to this question, I guess, that we're going to dissect. So the question is, what constitutes as cheating?
And we got this in through Instagram. And more context is, my boyfriend of 3 months recently told me that he went to a strip club, and I feel utterly disgusted. Am I wrong to feel this way? Does this count as cheating?
We think that cheating is very black and white when there are blurred lines. And I find that through personal experience, you and your partner need to get on the same page when it comes to where that line is drawn. I don't know what your relationship is like, so that conversation about strip clubs, probably not something you think about talking about like in early dating. On a first date, you're probably not like, do you go to strip clubs often? And do you think that's cheating? But times like this is an opportunity to ask for more information and also to express the fact that you were not very comfortable with it.
I feel like there is the clear black and whites, like you were saying. If you're in a monogamous relationship, if you have sex with someone or even kiss someone, I don't know, kissing, I guess, could even potentially be on the line, depending. But I could at least see that being more straightforward because there's something physical with it. The interesting part is this gray area where there's like these micro cheating instances. And I think this one falls into that. I could also see like someone liking like sexy Instagram posts, that kind of falls in there too.
Yeah.
And I think with some of these ones, oftentimes you don't know until you experience it, like how it's going to impact you. I wouldn't say this was cheating unless you explicitly had a conversation and said strip clubs count as cheating. That being said, it doesn't mean that it's not an opportunity for you to have a conversation of what this meant for you, what this means for your partner, and what it brings up for the two of you. And how do you get to a resolution? And it might not be like him saying, I'll never go to a strip club again. That might not be realistic. And you have to figure out, like, what are you willing to take with this, and then what is a complete deal breaker for you, and only you know what the line is on those.
The good news is he told you that he went to one.
Yes.
If he felt like he was doing something shady, he probably wouldn't have told you. So in his eyes, that was not cheating for him. Again, it's an opportunity to talk about where that line is drawn. I had an ex who believed that if you pay for something, it's not cheating. So he was very into paying for sex, going to strip clubs, paying for companionship, did not see that as cheating. Some relationships may be able to tolerate that. I was not cool with it. But also at the same time, he didn't tell me any of this until after I found out. So that says a little bit about what he thought he was doing. Like, he knew he was being shady. But in your situation, again, the good news is at least he told you. So now you can both just become more honest about how you truly feel about this situation.
Yeah. And I think there's also a validity in your feelings too. Like you can feel hurt or even disgusted is the term you use. Like
Yeah.
you can feel that way. Like we're never going to say like you can't feel how you feel, but your partner probably also feels a certain way about it. And it's up to you two to rectify what that means for your relationship.
The strip club thing is a little bit murky, and I totally get it because did he go by himself? Like, is that weird if he just goes by himself? But is it even weirder if he goes with a bunch of dudes?
Right.
But is it really weird if he goes with some co-ed friends? Like, there's just so many different levels. And did he go at night? Did he go during lunch like I often went in San Francisco to Gold Club?
You loved it.
I love Gold Club. Gold Club was my favorite strip club in San Francisco. They had a $5 buffet for lunch, and you could just
Did he just go for
pay
the
and then
chicken?
I just go for the best fried chicken in San Francisco. And they always brought out their JV team to dance during lunch. And so it's like really, it's a fun time. But again, it's like, what was his purpose in going? That's also good to know, like the intentionality behind it too.
I think there's also a difference of it making you uncomfortable and being a point of contention that you need to discuss for your relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and it being cheating in the sense of like someone doing something behind your back or, misleading you in a way. So getting clear of like what it actually is for you might be the first step. Like, did you have an actual conversation on this? The fact that he even told you is a good sign that he wasn't trying to necessarily mislead you on it. But again, only you know with your relationship. I'm curious, Yue, like in situations like you mentioned, like with your ex that went to strip clubs, but also like hired like people for sex, like if they had just gone to strip clubs, would have been cheating to you, or was there a line for you?
I didn't, and I still don't mind the strip clubs thing. I would much more prefer to go to a strip club with my partner than have him go with his friends or have me join them. So that I don't mind, but it's the fact that he didn't tell me. I think that's where the deception
Yeah.
was. And only reason why I found out was because
Yeah.
I saw the text messages and the bills being paid. So that's not a good feeling when your partner's hiding something from you.
Yeah.
What do you think about the actual act of your partner going to a strip club?
I mean, I think for me, it falls into similar to like watching porn for me. I don't feel like it's cheating, it's doing something that's necessarily like against me, but there is something about it that feels like a little icky to me. And I know some of it's not even justified, but it's just like a feeling I have. So I get where this listener is coming from. That being said, it's not like the reason why someone's going to a strip club or watching porn is because of you necessarily either. A lot of times it's stuff they've been doing for years prior to meeting you.
Yes.
So I've had to like also separate some of that too, that it's not like it actually has zero to do with me, because there's something a little, I don't know, this is where at least my head goes. I'm sure everyone goes somewhere different, but it's like, oh, do you need that anymore now that you're in a relationship? Because like you have someone. I don't think it's always that straightforward for people.
It really isn't. I've gone to plenty of strip clubs with my guy friends who are married and have girlfriends or whatnot. And they're just like, I love looking at a sexy woman where I don't know her name, I don't know her backstory, and I know that I'm not taking her home. There's just like something really exciting about that. And then you're going to go home to your wife or your girlfriend. So they can separate the two. But I also know people who go to strip clubs and actually try to pick up on the strippers.
Right.
That's not cool. So there's always a line there, and you got to figure out where the line is drawn. And this conversation needs to be had. Like, you feeling uncomfortable about your partner having that icky feeling about your partner going to a strip club needs to be said out loud to him.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's where the challenge is coming from, is that you feel uncomfortable. The action is making you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And maybe just hearing them out will not make you feel as uncomfortable anymore. Maybe that's enough, or maybe it's not enough. And this is a conversation the two of you need to have further. We're pretty sure, like, if someone is in a committed relationship with you, they don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. That's not the intention. Not to say that it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. It certainly can. But the only way to understand where they're coming from is to share. that. Even if you feel like it feels stupid, or everyone goes to strip clubs, or everyone watches porn, everyone likes people's like sexy Instagram model photos on Instagram. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, like you need to share that. Before we keep going, I want to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
This episode is made possible by Drizzly. You hear that? That's the sound of millions of people panicking to get last-minute gifts. Or it's a car horn. Either way, it's not you, because you're getting all your gifts this year on Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery. Drizzly lets you send beer, wine, and spirits to almost anywhere in as little as 60 minutes or scheduled up to 2 weeks in advance, making it the ultimate gifting hack for the holidays. Compare prices on drinks from local stores and avoid the chaos, the lines, the traffic, and the, hey buddy, learn to drive. I'm recording an ad here. It's for Drizzly, a super convenient drink delivery app that makes gifting for the holidays effortless. Yeah, you can send drinks right to anyone's door. What's that? You wish you knew about Drizzly earlier? You're literally scrambling to find gifts as we speak? Well, I download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com right now. Must be 21 and over and not available in all locations.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. It can be hard to find time to cook your everyday meals at the end of the year, especially when your calendar is jam-packed with holiday plans. And from all the holiday cooking, sometimes you just want a meal that's convenient. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service that delivers chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals straight to your door. I loved how I could skip that extra trip to the grocery store and how these fresh, never-frozen meals were ready in 2 minutes. I didn't realize how much time I was saving by not having to chop, prep, and clean. Not to mention, I was really digging this sausage and pasta dish, and my partner loved his jalapeno chicken dish because he loves spicy things. The best part too is the meals felt healthy. And normally when I'm busy, I may resort to takeout a little too often. This November, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Head to factormeals.com/dateable50 and use the code dateable50 to get 50% off. That's code dateable50 at factormeals.com/dateable50 to get 50% off. So I'm curious, Yue, like what your thoughts are on the Instagram models, like people liking sexy photos on Instagram. Because I feel like this one falls in the same camp for me, is that like it's technically not cheating, but there's something about it that feels icky to me.
It's more triggering for me just because I found the DMs of my most current ex, messaging. I mean, she wasn't an Instagram model, but like that was how their relationship developed, was over Instagram DM. So Instagram is such a dangerous place because it's just so easy. People are so accessible. And that's where I worry about. If you're just admiring their photos, I'm also like, do you really need to follow them? Or do you actually need to like them? Can you just look at them?
Like them in your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you need them to know that you are validating them?
Yeah.
Like, is that really important to you? So I would still want to have that conversation too. I haven't had that experience yet, but I do know that it wouldn't make me feel very good to know that my partner was like scrolling on Instagram, looking at these models and liking their photos.
Yeah, I think it kind of falls into like webcam stuff too, like all that area, or like OnlyFans. Like if you had a partner that was, I don't know, spending all their time talking to someone on webcam, I feel like there is something that would feel like off to me on that.
For sure.
But again, like I'm not sure if it's technically cheating, but yeah, like I think maybe it comes back to like, are they hiding it from you? I don't know.
Yes.
This is such a gray area though, because I could see someone hiding it because they're like embarrassed, maybe. Not because they're like trying to mislead you, but I would feel like they were because they weren't telling you.
Yeah, maybe it's the interaction part that I have a problem with. Because it's like, I know that if I'm out with my partner and he's going to find other people attractive and he'll probably check them out.
Right.
But there's a difference between checking them out and then going up to them being like, hey, you're hot. You're like in front of me.
Yeah.
That's the difference. I would not be cool with that. I don't think anybody would be cool with that. So I think it's the interaction part, like the webcam stuff. Do you actually need them to respond back to you, to know your name? if you need attention from
Yeah.
these webcam girls or Instagram models, then we got to figure out our relationship. Something's definitely missing in our relationship.
Right. I would never like want to tell someone how they can like live their life if that's something they felt was like so important to them. But I feel like there's a big but here. I feel like I would also like lose respect, right? And once like respect is lost,
Yes.
that's the other element. Even if it's not cheating, you need to respect your partner. So if you foundationally do not respect someone or feel the ick towards someone that's like going out to strip clubs every week,
Yes.
that's something you guys need to figure out because it's not going to feel good if you're just like harboring that.
Yes. But the word that you use is key is foundationally. When you're building the foundation in your first few months of dating, like our listener who wrote in, you're in your early stages of your relationship. I think an important question to ask is what are some of your habits that you've built single
Yeah.
that we should address now that we're in a partnership?
Yeah, it's like one of those things. I feel like it's easier just to pretend like people didn't have a past and don't ever
I
think
know.
about this stuff, but it can come up to bite you, you know. I think the first step for this listener is to have a conversation of this is how it made me feel. Don't put blame. I wouldn't go there to start it off. It's more of just like, you know, look, like you have been doing your thing, but just wanted to share like this is how it made me feel. I know we've never discussed this before. Again, not putting blame on it. But you do need to level set of like what constitutes as cheating for you. Because if you don't have that conversation, it's always going to be like, is this too much? Is this not too much? Like there has to be some lines in the sand that you either say, okay, I accept this for this person, or they say, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Foster that safe space. Definitely acknowledge the fact that they told you.
Yeah.
And appreciate them for that. You know, I really appreciate you for telling me this. And I hope that we continue to be open and honest with each other and then go into, you know, where you're feeling uncomfortable, but also couch this in the fact that you're really into them.
Yeah.
You know, like this makes me feel insecure and I'm so into you. I want to
Mhm.
feel really securely attached to you. So it's always coming from a place of good intentions.
These are just so tricky because everyone has a different definition of how much this is something they want in their life. And
Yeah.
you just need to be with someone that you can feel compatible with. And ultimately, you two need to create the rules for your relationship. That's what it is. So, like, figure out where your thresholds lie and what works for the two of you.
But more importantly, thanks for sending in that question. It's a great question. I'm sure many people have encountered especially in early stages of dating. Keep sending those questions in. You can either email us, hello@dateablepodcast.com, or you can DM us on Instagram @dateablepodcast is the handle. Or the best way to get your question in is to give us a rating and review in Apple Podcasts. Just hit 5 stars and in the body of the review, ask your question there. So simple. And then when we see it, we just push it up to the front of the queue and we'll answer it right away.
Awesome. Well, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Media Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram @Dateable Podcast and visit dateablepodcast.com for access to all the episodes and our premium programs. Also, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform so you are the first to get all the latest episodes. And most importantly, stay dateable.